When I grew up, it was winner stays on the court, and then the loser has to go wait and sit on the sideline. You did everything you could to get on a good team, to make a good team, and to stay on that team. Because if you didn't, boy, it was a long day. If you did, you felt great, and you would do anything possible to do that. You have a direct impact on your team winning or losing. And you can do that not just by what you do, but by empowering and motivating other people. If you work hard, it shows up. You get results for it. You could lose on Tuesday, but you get it together and you're back on Wednesday and you're competing again. You're analyzing your mistakes. And that's why good entrepreneurs continue to get better all the time. So if there's one thing I want to make clear, it's that I was not born into an entrepreneurial family. This is something that I came into. I didn't have any advantages coming into it. I was just, as one of my friends said, a slow white point guard who could kind of shoot. I was born in New York. I grew up in New York all through high school. And we were a big family. Great mother, great father. My father worked, my mother was a stay-at-home mom, but we never had a lot of money. We made do. We weren't a well-to-do family by any stretch of the imagination. I loved organizing people, and that led me to play basketball, and I was always playing basketball growing up. There was one teacher, his name was Mr. Barlow. He was totally dedicated to being a great teacher, and he was extraordinarily strict. And he really turned me around, frankly, in a public high school in New York, and he was a huge difference maker for me. Thanks to Mr. Barlow, I applied to Harvard, and I got into Harvard. And everyone said, well, geez, which shocked a lot of people. I majored in engineering at Harvard, which people at MIT think is crazy. That really taught me to think very logically about things and approach things in a logical way. And I played basketball, didn't have nearly as good a career as I would like to have, but graduated from Harvard with honors, and then I went and played basketball for a year in Europe because that's what I still wanted to do. When I graduated from college, nobody knew what the word entrepreneurship was. It's not like it is today. I graduated in 1980, and I might have been the most entrepreneurial person in my graduating class in college. I didn't even know what the word was. I didn't even think about it. I just thought, the best thing you could do was go work for a big company like IBM. That's what I did. I went and worked for IBM, and I'm glad I did. I learned terrific skills when I was at IBM, and it was a great company then. But the world changed, and I became exposed to entrepreneurship when I came back to MIT in 1993, and it just opened up a whole new world for me. It was a revelation for me. I had never thought about understanding all the different parts of a business before in one integrated way. I realized that I wasn't going to go back to IBM. This is what I wanted to do. So basically, I took what I learned in the class, and I went out and started applying that outside of the class to find someone else. And then we formed our first company while I was still a student at MIT. I didn't focus on the importance of culture and building a team in the first company, but I sure didn't make that mistake thereafter. Culture really does matter. And that's one of the things we talk about in our class. Culture eats products for breakfast, strategy for lunch, and everything else for dinner. That was a fabulous learning experience at Cambridge Decision Dynamics, which positioned me for SensAble Technologies, which became another learning experience, which then led to the third company that was very, leadership role, a guy named Bernard Bailey, called Visage, where we did a major turnaround. And in 2.5 years, it went from $50 million to $500 million company in valuation. But it's cumulative. That's the point. Entrepreneurship was cumulative, and in that process, I was learning valuable lessons. And that was the most important goal of all. It wasn't making a little bit more money in the first company. It was what I learned that positioned me to be able to do in the third company what I couldn't do in the second company or the first company. One thing that everybody needs to understand who's watching this video is the answer I give to the question. People come, how did you know all this stuff when you were an entrepreneur? And the fact is, I didn't know this stuff. And that's why I think these videos are so important. Because what I have now, I tell them, what I have now is I have wisdom. And wisdom is scar tissue from all the mistakes I've made. But what I did is I tried different things and I figured it out. I made mistakes and I got scraped. And all those mistakes are the scar tissue that give me this thing called wisdom now, which allows me to figure out what's the right path. Because I tried all the other paths, and I can tell you, I made more mistakes than almost anybody. So the way I look at it is I'm winning 3-2, and that's all you need to do.